In the shadowy corridors of power, secrets lurk. Some government programs were meant to protect us. Others, not so much. These are the most unbelievable real-life projects you were never meant to know about. Picture this: a dimly lit room filled with stern-faced men in suits. They're huddled around a table, discussing something called Project Midnight, but this isn't some Hollywood thriller. This is real life, and it's far more chilling than any fiction. Project Midnight was a series of declassified tests involving behavior manipulation and psychological control. The government wasn't just interested in reading minds, they wanted to control them. Imagine waking up one day, your thoughts no longer your own. Sounds impossible, right? Well, that's exactly what they were aiming for. Documents reveal experiments where subjects were exposed to various stimuli, from drugs to sensory deprivation, all in an attempt to break down their mental barriers. One participant described feeling like his mind was putty in their hands. The ethical implications: swept under the rug in the name of national security. But Project Midnight was just the tip of the iceberg. As the Cold War raged on, both sides were desperate for any advantage they could get. Enter the psychic files. You've probably heard of psychics claiming to read minds or see the future. But did you know that the US government spent millions trying to harness these abilities for espionage? It sounds like science fiction, but it was very real. The CIA's Stargate project, which ran from the 1970s to the 1990s, employed self-proclaimed psychics in an attempt to gather intelligence through remote viewing. These psychics claimed they could mentally project themselves to distant locations, describing details of enemy bases or hidden weapons caches. One famous case involved a remote viewer allegedly locating a downed Soviet bomber in Africa, providing coordinates that led to its discovery. Coincidence, or something more? The government seemed to think it was worth pursuing, pouring resources into this otherworldly endeavor for decades. But while some projects reached for the stars, others hit much closer to home. In fact, they may have been right in your backyard, or more accurately, in the air you breathe. In the 1950s and 60s, the US military conducted a series of tests involving the release of supposedly harmless bacteria in American cities. The goal: to study how biological agents might spread in an urban environment. The catch: they didn't tell anyone. San Francisco, New York, and other major cities were unwittingly turned into petri dishes. Residents reported mysterious fog-like substances descending on their neighborhoods. Some even fell ill, though the government denied any connection. It wasn't until decades later that the truth came to light. The bacteria used, while generally considered harmless, could cause infections in people with weakened immune systems. The public had been exposed without their knowledge or consent, all in the name of national defense. But what if the threat isn't coming from outside our borders, but from within? That's where we enter the murky world of false flags, operations designed to manipulate public perception through staged events. One of the most shocking proposals never carried out was Operation Northwoods. In the early 1960s, at the height of tensions with Cuba, high-ranking U.S. military officials suggested a series of false flag attacks to justify an invasion of the island nation. The plans included staging terrorist attacks on U.S. soil, sinking boats full of Cuban refugees, and even shooting down a civilian airliner, all to be blamed on Castro's regime. While these plans were ultimately rejected, the fact that they were seriously considered at such high levels is chilling. It makes you wonder, what other false flag operations might have slipped through the cracks? How many world events have been shaped by unseen hands, manipulating our perceptions and reactions? But perhaps the darkest chapter in this twisted tale involves medical tests that crossed every ethical line imaginable. Throughout history, there have been instances where the pursuit of scientific knowledge trampled human rights underfoot. The Tuskegee Syphilis Study is a prime example. For 40 years, from 1932 to 1972, the U.S. Public Health Service conducted a study on the progression of untreated syphilis in African American men. The subjects were told they were receiving free health care, but in reality, they were left to suffer from a treatable disease, even after penicillin became the standard cure. Hundreds of men died, went blind, or experienced severe health complications, all while being lied to by the very institutions meant to protect them. The study only ended when it was exposed by a whistleblower, leading to public outrage and major changes in medical ethics guidelines. But if you think such atrocities are confined to the past, think again. Our final stop takes us to a place known as the Island of Shadows, where the line between science and cruelty became blurred beyond recognition. In the aftermath of World War II, as the nuclear arms race heated up, governments were eager to understand the effects of radiation on the human body. But how do you study something so dangerous? For some, the answer was simple: find unwitting test subjects. The Marshall Islands in the Pacific became ground zero for numerous nuclear tests. But it wasn't just the immediate blast that scientists were interested in. They wanted to know about long-term exposure, the silent killer that lingers in the air, water, and soil. So, they did the unthinkable. They allowed, even encouraged, islanders to return to their contaminated homes. No warnings were given. No protective gear was provided. These people became living experiments, their bodies absorbing radiation day after day. The results were catastrophic. Cancer rates skyrocketed. Birth defects became commonplace. Generations were scarred, both physically and emotionally, all while government officials took notes, treating human lives as data points in their cosmic experiment. As we pulled back the curtain on these dark truths, a chilling realization sets in. If this is what we do know, what's been declassified, exposed, or reluctantly admitted? What's still hidden in the vaults? What secrets are still being kept from us, justified by national security or scientific progress? The projects we've uncovered are just fragments of a larger, more complex picture. A world where the lines between protector and oppressor, progress and cruelty, become dangerously blurred. It forces us to question not just our past, but our present and future. Are we truly safe? Are we truly free? Or are we all unwitting participants in experiments we can't even imagine? The next time you hear a strange noise in the night or notice an unusual fog rolling in, remember, sometimes the truth is stranger and far more terrifying than fiction.